Hi, and welcome to the 9th of January, 2022, the second week of January, to this gathering reflection. Have you made any New Year's resolutions? Planned out any new habits? As I think about resolutions, they're often big and grandiose, but the more that I read, the more I realize that we're supposed to make small changes to our habits. There's a quote that struck me this last year by a guy named J.W. Early in a book called The Common Rule: Habits of Purpose for an Age of Distraction. And he says, anyone who studies habit inevitably happens upon the same surprise: how ordinary and simple the building blocks of the most complex and beautiful things are. What he's saying is little habits, over time, create complex and beautiful things. They turn us into what we hope to be. Now, I comment on this because we're looking into a habit that the people of God celebrated over the centuries, that of Passover. A habit that reminded them of their deliverance from bondage in Egypt by nature of God's mercy of provision through a sacrificial lamb, blood on doorposts, and then a meal of unleavened bread that gave sustenance for them to leave Exodus out into new life, a new covenant life with God. Now, they celebrated that year in and year out, and it formed the people into, we are the people of God, and we know that our God delivers, we know that our God provides by mercy, and we know that our God sustains us. They were a people who believed this of God and also believed themselves to be God's people, whom were going to be provided for and saved for new things. Fast forward a couple of centuries to Jesus, and he comes on the scene and celebrates the Passover with his disciples. And as the gospel writers remind us, that on Passover a lamb is sacrificed. So when Jesus sits down at the Passover meal, this habitual meal reminding them of their place and who God is, Jesus takes on the Lamb of God idea without saying it. He picks up the cup and he picks up the bread and he says, as you eat this bread, eat it in remembrance of me, of my body broken for you. And when you drink this cup, drink it knowing that it's my blood which is shed for you, for the forgiveness of sins, for your deliverance. I am that lamb, that mercy of God that provides your protection against judgment. My blood will cover over you. I will deliver you out of this bondage to evil and to death and to sin, and free you and give you myself, my spirit, my word, to fulfill you and to sustain you, to lead into new resurrection life. Jesus takes on that lamb, becomes that to provide, again, deliverance, mercy, and sustenance for the people of God. And we are called to practice that habit day in, day out, week by week, year by year, to also know that our God comes to be with us. Our God is the Lamb of God who sacrifices himself for us to deliver us from evil, to provide a covering against judgment, and to sustain us into new resurrection life. That's one element of who Jesus is and the Lamb of God. Now, this gets confusing because we think, wait a minute, Jesus is the Lion of Judah. How can he be the Lion of Judah and the Lamb of God at the same time? Well, that's the invitation for us to reflect that as Jesus is the ultimate authority, the King over all, he rules by laying down his life for others. And you see that conversation a little bit more in Luke right after this text, where they're still arguing who's the greatest, and he says, the one who rules should be the one who serves. We are called to serve. So as you discuss in your group, as you think about these texts, how is Jesus, as the Lamb of God, who's laid down power as the lion to serve us, how does he deliver us, sustain us, and provide mercy for us? And how does he invite us to do the same thing to other people? The Lamb of God, it's amazing what Jesus has done for us, and he invites us to do something amazing for others. I look forward to hearing about your discussion. Peace.